Hello and welcome to the premiere of Hamlet, an audio drama. I'm Logan Verdorn. I'm the artistic director here at Shakespearean Youth Theatre and also the director of Hamlet. We have a great pre-show coming up for you, and the show will start in just about a half an hour, but I just had a couple words I wanted to share before we get going. First, tonight's premiere is for Hamlet, the audio drama, but Hamlet is also part of SYT's new initiative, The Dream Project, which is a web platform that features interactive, annotated editions of the script alongside the audio drama, as well as a huge amount of extra content, including insightful commentary from the cast and crew that go along with the script itself. Hamlet will launch on the Dream Project website in exactly 1 week on December the 19th. I highly encourage you to check it out. It is well worth your time. For the Dream Project, we hold interviews with each member of the cast, and for the most part, their answers are all about the production, insightful commentary about their characters, specific language in the production, and analysis of the play. This production of Hamlet was originally created for the stage, set to premiere on March 13th, 2020. Which did not happen. And so for this cast, we also had the opportunity to ask them about their experience this year with having the show canceled back in March and also returning to it again in this most peculiar of times. And I find their insights to be incredibly inspiring and also profound in many ways, and I think you will too. And so I will shortly hand over the mic to them for the remainder of this pre-show. Before I turn it over to them, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the amazing creative team of designers and design mentees that were part of the original Hamlet production and who never got to see their work up on stage and in front of audiences, but were so instrumental to the creation and the conception of this production. To celebrate their work, we have included alongside the audio in this premiere a slideshow of images taken back in March from the production, and that you'll get to see chronologically go through along with the show tonight. Finally, as you may have noticed, we're not charging for tickets to this premiere or to access the Dream Project website of Hamlet that launches next week. But we are asking anyone who is able to make a donation of any size to help us fund this programming and help our organization get through this really tough time for nonprofits and arts organizations especially. You can make a donation at any time on our website at sytmn.org. We'll also throw a link to a donation page in the description section below the video. Truly, any donation of any kind is hugely beneficial, and we thank you all so very much. Now, please enjoy these excerpts from our interviews with the amazing, intrepid cast of Hamlet.
Wow, I don't know, it's wild. It's just like we did this thing and then it didn't happen. So it was the rug was pulled out from underneath us. But coming back to it is almost like seeing the ghost of your dead father. Honestly, we thought it was over. We thought this was the end. And now we're back. And it's a wild and kind of traumatic situation. But there's some good in it. But it's also kind of deeply upsetting.
Well, it was kind of awful. It was an awful feeling when our show got canceled like a few hours before it was going to open. That hurts. It still hurts. 'Cause we worked really hard on staging, and we had some brilliant costuming that nobody gets to see, and the the Hamlet Laertes sword fight. Nobody gets to see that, at least like not in a full costumed and like it's not the same. They can maybe see some videos online from before, but I don't think that it's nearly the same. And I like audio recordings. I think in general I like recording audio more than I like doing a stage production. But I would have liked to do Hamlet physically, because all the hard work was already put in by the tech track, the acting track, like everything was so finished, and then right at the finish line it was done, and that sucks.
Well, it was really sad when I found out Hamlet was being canceled, because we worked so hard on everything, and everything was just so beautiful with the lights and the costumes and the way everything was choreographed. I really liked it. And then to find out that we could come back, like, it was really nice because now we can still do it, but also it was disappointing because we couldn't, like, perform the way we could live.
It was definitely very abrupt, because I believe the quarantine order went out right after we had finished all of our rehearsals. So it was very much like let's do this, let's go, then no, stop. And it was definitely really disheartening, because I was really liking the show. But when we decided, hey, we can do it as an audio drama similar to A Midsummer Night's Dream, it's definitely not the same, but I'm glad that we're still able to put it on.
That was not... That sucked, okay? Because we were just going to go into our opening night, and the whole thing got canceled. And we obviously didn't think it would be canceled for this long. We obviously didn't think this whole COVID situation would be going as long as it did, but it did. So I guess you just gotta roll with the punches. It was definitely terrible. Honestly, our whole show got canceled, but we are doing the best we can, and we are still gonna put on our version of the show.
So when we had to cancel the show back in March, it was pretty rough, generally speaking, for everyone. I think that the hardest part for me was the rest of the cast. It was a huge blow for everyone in the cast and the faculty. We put a lot of time and effort and heart into this whole production, and we were super excited to put it on. And having it canceled and postponed indefinitely, and sort of being left in this limbo of not knowing what was going to happen with it was heartbreaking. It was the best we could do to just stay together as a cast and like exist in that time, and it sort of defined the beginning of this whole period of quarantine and COVID as just sort of this thing that was looming over all of it, the unfinished business that we had with Hamlet. And I think returning to it is both bittersweet and triumphant in a number of ways. It is so good to be able to do something like the Dream Project and put at least a version of it out into the world with how much time that we've spent on it and with these characters and with this world. But it is bittersweet in the sacrifices that we've had to make to create it in a safe way. We've lost a lot of the visual and just the visual design, really, that we had for the show that I think was very defining in the way that we created it. But I think that with how much time we've gotten to spend with it, some of that visual design somehow even leaks into our performances in the way that we know what this world is. We have such definition of the world that this takes place in that we know it when we speak it.
I think what's most interesting in the context of our world today and Hamlet
is the idea of reaching out to other people. Hamlet, throughout the play, reaches out to people. Ophelia, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, ultimately Horatio, seeking human connection. And I think that resonates on a different level in times where we're all going through some wild crap and also having to find new ways to connect to people. So I think in that context, Hamlet's search for interpersonal connection is especially interesting.
Well, I think that the themes of Hamlet are still relevant because there's a lot of hopelessness in trying to fix situations that there's a lot of young people trying to get stuff done that no one else will do, and there's a lot of feelings of hopelessness and it's like dread of what will happen and what will spiral out of our control, and like morally gray politicians and having to interact with the world when everything seems like it's going to end. And it's a heavy, complicated play, but I think also our show demonstrates that there's still a lot of like light and love for within characters and love for what they do, and you know, having to take the entirety of the world on your shoulders kind of drains you of that and makes it hard to just keep going. And yeah, I mean, it's been a long process, and I think our Hamlet has changed a lot over the last year, and I think Ophelia has changed a lot too in my interpretations of Ophelia and kind of how I play her.
I don't know. It's so much of the play and so much of our production is so preoccupied with death and life and how to understand and deal with that and to live what Hamlet considers to be a good life that's worth living. And Hamlet's just constantly stressing about, am I doing this right? Am I living the right way? And it sort of almost gets in the way of his life itself. And I don't know. I've kind of felt that way too as well. Like, I think Hamlet is just it's telling you to live, to please make the most of your life, please do not take this for granted, because that even though circumstances, your relationships with other people, it's hard to feel safe, that life is still worth living, that trying to make meaningful connections with other people it's always going to be worthwhile, even if it fails. Like, that's the only way you're going to get anywhere in life. And that even though we're all going to die, what we do is still going to have a tangible effect on the world. It's going to ripple out. It's going to, even though we're going to die, we still matter. And I think that in the middle of a pandemic where in the middle of a world where there are a lot of people who are just trying to figure out how to live, how to, not just figuratively, but literally, how am I going to survive day to day? I just like that this is telling you that it's worth it. Life is worth the pain.
Well, ultimately, it's there's no one taking personal accountability, and there's no one holding other people accountable for what they've done. I mean, Claudius is just, in his actions, he destabilizes an entire country for personal gain, for for some political reasons. It's entirely possible that Hamlet, the previous king, was a terrible king, and by all intents and purposes, the peasants seem overall more happy with Claudius, but they do fall into revolution behind Laertes very quickly, and I think it's very much about people just not being true to something and not being true to what's around them. It very much does. I mean, we have nothing but people not being held personally accountable for their actions and for their influences on each other, on the environment, on the community, on everything.
There's a bit of corruption in our own government, and I think that Claudius's acts can portray to a certain extent how our sort of government is failing to perform its at top efficiency. Basically, it's sort of crumbling apart, kind of like Denmark. Laertes leads an uprising of the common folk against the new king because of the death of his father, and I think that definitely relates to what's happening now with today's protests.
The part that resonates to me specifically very much is the rebellion side of Hamlet, when kind of basically starting around. There's always that tension there, but the rebellion doesn't come in until Act 4. But I think that resonates specifically now with what's going on all across America. Some of the most there's protests and riots across America that have never been seen at this scale before, which is I have very strong opinions about. But and I think that resonates to me specifically, or resonates to me especially.
I think a really easy one is just everything is so much in disarray in the world of Hamlet. Everything is topsy-turvy. Everything is completely uncertain. It's not that Hamlet is indecisive. He just doesn't know what's going to happen. And that's not something that we can know either in the world that we live in. It's all uncertainty and disarray and just the line of there's something rotten in the state of Denmark. I think that is very applicable to the state of the world today in a sad and disturbing sense, but in a way that rings pretty true for Hamlet as a play.
So right now, transparency is a fun thing to have. Unfortunately, we don't know if what we're seeing is transparency or just a misty box. And so that's what the people in Elsinore are dealing with, and we sort of deal with that today. Madness and Hamlet, murder at the top, sort of doesn't really affect the bottom people. However, it really does. It doesn't affect them on a personal level, as it would Hamlet, who is grieving, but it really affects them because France is going to come wipe our butts in the 18th century.
I think that the general unnervedness and chaos is very similar. Well, in Hamlet, the people that know about the ghost and the chaos are terrified. And in the real world, the people that know and are informed about deadly viruses and the like are terrified because, they're scary things, ghosts and burning continents and pandemics.
Well, to make a joke, Hamlet is pretty good at social distancing since he's always on the outskirts of things.
Okay, why this ensemble's Hamlet is something that people should actually pay attention to is okay. So for any theater, I think that the youth should always be listened to, because anytime I've worked with someone who's like 11 or 12, half the time they have better ideas than any adults involved in the process. Now, refining that ideas, that's a whole nother story, but I think that people who are young are experiencing emotions for the first time. They don't know how to filter things. They don't know how to block things. And that sounds like a terrible thing, but I think it's a really, really good thing for art and for theater. And I think specifically this group of people have been able to adapt and create and learn and come up with their own ways of telling the story without anyone exactly telling them how they're supposed to. In a way, they haven't. Students who haven't made their own way in life yet are able to have first experiences. They're able to have first experiences on stage in a way. And I think that's really, really powerful.
So, the embroideries are, since last year really, I've started using cross-stitching embroidery, needlework specifically, as my go-to art medium. So one of our cast members, Ulla, she plays Gertrude, had been doing little art pieces for everybody, and I thought, hey, it'd be kind of neat if I did something like that, since I'd already been doing something similar for most of the shows. I've been very behind. But that's what I've been trying to do, and so it started with Abraham's, really. His was the first one that I got super inspired to do, and it's still one of my favorites. Yeah, my pandemic project, it still is. I'm not done. In my ideal world, I will get at least small embroideries, be they quotes, just embroideries of the people, for the entire cast and most of the crew, once I actually get ideas down. But yeah, that's where I'm going.
When Hamlet was originally canceled in March, I don't think anyone really knew the level of terrible this year was going to be, and that the amount of struggle and fighting that we'd have to do. And I think there was a period where I didn't want to revisit the play at all, and that I felt like that, why do we have to go back to another story with an unhappy ending? And, it was really hard. And it still is. But But I guess for me, I felt like I needed to give this Ophelia a voice in like the current standings of the world, and I felt like I needed to do her justice. And it's a damn good play. Shakespeare did good. Great job, man. Yeah, and also I will say that even if I didn't feel like I wanted to do Ophelia justice, I would have done this show a million times over for our Hamlet, Abraham, because he is the most stunning, wonderful person and actor, and it is a delight to work with him every moment I have. And yeah, I texted him the other day and I was like, it is an honor that you are my Hamlet. And he was like, you are my Ophelia, and it was really sweet. So do it all for him. Well, now you're sitting out of me here out of crying too.
It's gonna be so cool to actually have something that we made that's concretely in the world now. Like, it's different from like this live theater production because now it's just here forever. It's even though it's less technically personal, it's so much more public, and it's much more of a monument. I'm just so excited to see what this is gonna make, what beautiful ghosts we will be. I do think Hamlet does suffer from mental illness. I don't think the antic disposition is real at all. I think that is all faked, but just how much grief affects him, how much he has this negative this negative version of himself that he's built up in his mind, how he obsesses over like all this over all his emotions and whether they're good emotions that he's having, just constantly criticizing himself, just always judging himself to this standard of like this cool avenging son idea, and his preoccupation with death and his inability to find all these positive emotions in other people and in the world. I think that's very real. I get that. It's something that I think can help people understand themselves, because it helped me figure out sort of how I was feeling and how some of that might not have been the healthiest ways to like think about things and understand things. And I don't know. Yeah, I guess I just sort of learned from this play about myself. It's wild how stories can do that, you know? Like, that's pretty cool.
I hope you enjoyed those interviews from the cast of Hamlet. There's much more amazing analysis and content that will be on the Dream Project website of the show that launches just 1 week from today. So please make sure to check that out. Also, if you're just tuning in, just one more plug. We are not charging tickets to this premiere or for access to any of the shows on the Dream Project website. So if you are able, please, there's a link below to make a donation. Please consider doing that. It helps us greatly in this very difficult time. Thank you all. Now please enjoy Hamlet.
Shakespearean Youth Theatre presents Hamlet by William Shakespeare. The King of Denmark is dead. His widow has hastily remarried his brother, Claudius. Young Hamlet, heir to the throne, returns home to find rot and corruption beneath the pristine facade of the state, and his uncle, newly crowned king. As the nation is thrown into a whirlpool of chaos, lives are uprooted, and revenge, ambition, and madness reign unchecked. Welcome to Elsinore.
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Bernardo,
He?
you come most carefully upon your hour.
'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold and I am sick at heart.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them.
Just up here, my lord.
Stand! Who's there?
Friends to this ground, and leasemen to the Dane.
Give you good night.
Farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night.
Hello, Bernardo.
Say, what, is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What, has this thing appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush, tush, 'twill not appear.
Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story, which we 2 nights have seen.
Well, sit we down and let us hear Bernardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one.
Peace! Break thee off! Look where it comes again!
In the same figure like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar! Speak to it, Horatio!
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio!
What art thou, that usurps this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended!
See, it stalks away!
Stay! Speak! Speak! I charge thee, speak!
'Tis gone and will not answer.
Oh, now, Horatio, you tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
By my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself. 'Tis strange.
Thus twice before, and just at this dead hour with muscle stark hath he gone by our watch.
This bodes some strange eruption to our state. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it, though it blast me. Stay, illusion. If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which haply foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak, speak of it, stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
Shall I strike at it?
Do if it will not stand.
'Tis here.
'Tis here.
'Tis gone.
It was about to speak, and then it started like a guilty thing upon fearful summons.
It faded on the crying of the lark. Some say that ever against that season come, when creeping darkness doth abridge the day, the bud of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say no spirit can walk abroad, the night wholesome, then no planet strike, no fairies talk, nor wits hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is the time.
But look, the morn in russet mantle clad walk o'er the dew on yon high eastern hill.
Break we our watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him.
Though yet of Hamlet our dear brother's death the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe, yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, have we, as 'twere with defeated joy, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks.
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty! And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is it, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes? That shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
Dread my lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence, though willingly, I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation. Yet I must confess that, duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again towards France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laboursome petition. And at last, upon his will, I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet, and my son.
A little more than kin, and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord. I am too much the sun.
Good, Hamlet. Cast thy knightly color off, and let thine eyes look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, it is common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, madam. Nay, it is, I know not, seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shows of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play, but I have that within which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father. That father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation, for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly, Grief? Fie! 'Tis a fault against nature to the dead, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers. Pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne. And with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart towards you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire. And we beseech you, bend you, to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I prithee, stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg.
I shall, in all my best, obey you, madam.
Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself. In Denmark! Come, away!
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Oh, and that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seems to me all the uses of this world. Fiant! Oh, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this, Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what is fed on, and yet, within a month, frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears, why she, even she, oh heaven, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with mine uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules, within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing of her galled cheeks, she married. Oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Hail to your lordship!
I am glad to see thee well. Horatio! I do forget myself.
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what in faith make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus!
My good lord.
I'm glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what make you from Wittenberg?
A truant disposition, good my lord.
I would not have your enemies say so, nor shall you to mine ear that violence to make it truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant, but what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I pray thee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven ere I had ever seen that day. My father. Methinks I see my father.
Oh, where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio?
Oh, yeah, I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father.
Season your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you.
For heaven's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch, in the dead waste and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure, like your father, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. This they did impart to me in dreadful secrecy, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch. Upon my life, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, upon the platform where we watched.
Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none.
'Tis very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true, and we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, sirs, but this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight?
We do, my lord.
Armed, say you?
Armed, my lord.
From top to toe?
My lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh yes, my lord.
What, looked he frowningly?
A countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
I would I had been there.
It would have much amazed you.
Very like, very like. I'll watch tonight. Perchance 'twill walk again.
I warrant you it will.
I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed the sight, let it be treble in your silence still. Upon the platform, twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty to your honor.
Your love as mine to you. Farewell.
Farewell.
My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I fear some foul play. Would the night were come. Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And, sister, as the winds give benefit and convoys assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet, and the trifling of his favors, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood. Forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and the pastime of a minute, no more.
No more, but so.
Think it no more. Perhaps he loves you now, but you must fear his greatness weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the sanctity and health of the whole state. Then wait what loss your honor may sustain, if with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister. A chariest maid is prodigal enough if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But good my brother, do not as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven whilst like a puffed and reckless libertine himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed.
Oh, fear me not. Come on, get over. Come on.
Laertes!
I stay too long, but here our father comes. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Yet here, Laertes? Aboard for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for there. My blessing with you. And these few precepts in thy memory see thou character. Give thy thoughts, no tongue nor any unproportioned thoughts, his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar, the friends thou hast in their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each unhatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but, being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit, as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true. And it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to anyone. Farewell, my blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you, go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
Oh.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Very well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and, bounteous. If it be so as so 'tis put on me in that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affections to me.
Affection, puh! You speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you obtain his tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase. Roaming it thus, you'll tender me a fool.
My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
Aye, fashion you may call it. Go to.
And given countenance to a speech, my lord, with all the vows of heaven.
Aye, springes to catch woodcocks. I do know when the blood burns how prodigal the soul gives the tongue vows. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
Your bite shrewdly. It's very cold.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
I think it lacks of 12.
No, it is struck.
Well, then it draws near the season wherein the ghost held us wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
The king's late tonight. Takes his rouse, keeps wassails in the swaggering upspring reels, and as he drains his draughts of Rhenish wine.
Look, my lord, it comes!
Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin downed. Bring with thee airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy events wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, King, Father, Royal Dane. Oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements by the sepulchre, wherein we saw thee quietly and earned have cast thee up again. What may this mean? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
It beckons you to go away with it.
But do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak? Then will I follow it.
Do not, my lord.
What should be a fear? I do not set my life at a pin's fee. It weighs me forth again. I'll follow it.
What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to the dreadful sonnet of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assume some other horrible form which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it!
Weighs me still. Go on, I'll follow thee.
You shall not go, my lord.
Hold off your hand.
Be ruled, you shall not go.
Am I cold? Unhand me. Gentlemen, by heaven, open the ghost of him that left free. I say away. Go on, I'll follow thee. Where wilt thou lead me? I'll go no further. Speak. I'll go no further. Speak. Where wilt thou lead me? Speak. Mark me. I will. My hour is almost come when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Alas, poor ghost. Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak. I am bound to hear.
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I should a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, Hamlet, oh list, if ever thou didst thy dear father love.
Oh heaven!
Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge.
Now, Hamlet, hear. It is given out that sleeping in mine orchard a serpent stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know thou, noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my pathetic soul. Mine uncle?
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with his witchcraft won unto his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there! So lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning's air. Brief let me be. Upon my sleeping hour thy uncle came with juice of Hebena, and in the porches of mine ears did pour the poisonous distilment. Thus was I, sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin. No reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible. Oh, horrible. Most horrible. But if thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark become a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows my time is drawing near, and begins to pale his ineffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet. Remember me.
Oh, most pernicious woman. Oh, villain. Villain, smiling, damned villain. That one can smile and be a villain. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now, to my word, it is adieu. Adieu. Remember me. I have sworn. So be it.
Hello ho, my lord.
Hello ho! Oh boy, come bird, come.
How is it, my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you'll reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
There's ne'er a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an arrant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
All right, you are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desires shall point you, for every man has business and desires, such as this, and for mine own poor part, look you, I'll go pray.
These are but wild and hurling words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offend you, heartily. Yes, faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too, touching this vision here. It is an honest ghost, that let me tell you. And now, good friends, as you indeed are friends, give me one poor request.
What is it, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord, we will not.
Nay, but swear it.
Propose the oath, my lord.
Never to speak of this that you have seen.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in our philosophy. But come, here as before, never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd, so ere I bear myself, oh, never note that you know aught of me, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on. This not to do, so grace and mercy help you. Swear. Rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love, I do commend me to you, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and shh, still your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go in together.
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Come, let's follow him.
To what issue will this come?
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Nay, let's follow him.
The king awake tonight and takes his rouse and drains down all his draughts of Rhenish wine. And we, his lords and ladies, thus bray out the triumph of his pledge. But even now, amidst this hurly, deep potations drunk, young Hamlet, sad and sober, came to me. He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh, so piteous and profound, it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulders turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their help, and to the last bended their light on me. So, oft it chances in particular men, that for some vicious mole of nature in them, as in their birth, wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, his virtues else, be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault.
How now, Ophelia? What's the matter?
Good, my father. Matters not of any note.
What? What in the name of heaven?
My lord, I do not know. But even now, I met the young Lord Hamlet, fixed with a look so piteous, as if he had been loosed out of hell, to speak of horrors.
Mad for thy love? What said he?
Nothing, but sighed, then heavy-headed went to doors.
Go with me, I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love. What? Have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I left his letter silent and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I'm sorry that with better speed and judgment I had not quoted him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to rack thee. But through my jealousy, come, go we to the king. This must be known.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
And my lord.
Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something you have heard of Hamlet's transformation, so I call it, since not the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. What it should be more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so far from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. I entreat you both, that being of so young a days brought up with him, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our court some little time, so by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much from occasions as you may glean. Whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus, that opened lies within our remedy.
Good gentlemen, he hath much talked of you, and sure I am to men there are not living to whom he more adheres.
Your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty.
But we both obey, and to give up ourselves in the full bent to lay our services freely at your feet, to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz. And gentle Guildenstern.
Thanks, Guildenstern, and gentle Rosencrantz. And I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son. Come, gentlemen, I'll bring you both where Hamlet is.
Heavens make our presence and practices pleasant and helpful to him.
Aye, amen.
Ah, good Polonius.
Assure you, my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God, one to my gracious king, and I do think, or else this brain of mine has not the trail of policy so sure as I have used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy.
Oh, speak of that! That I do long to hear. He tells me, my sweet queen, that he hath found the head and source of all your son's distemper.
Well, I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death and our o'er-hasty marriage.
Well, we shall sift him.
My liege, and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, why day is day, night, and time is time, were nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad, I call it, for to define true madness, what is it but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go.
More matter with less art.
Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he is mad, 'tis true, 'tis pity, and a pity it is true. A foolish figure, but farewell it, for I will use no art. Mad, let us grant him then? And now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect, for this effect, defective, comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder, thus. Perpend, I have a daughter, have whilst she is mine, who hath received this. Now gather, and surmise. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase, but you shall hear these. In her excellent white bosom, these, etc.
Came this from Hamlet to her.
Good madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Doubt thou the stars are fired, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. Oh, dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers. I have not art to reckon my woes, but that I love thee best. Oh, most best believe it. Adieu. Thine evermore, most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet.
But how hath she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As of a man, faithful and honorable.
I would fain prove so. But what might you think if I had viewed this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my Ophelia thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star. This must not be. And then I precepts gave her that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens, which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repulsed, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence to a weakness, thence to a lightness, and by this declension into the madness, wherein now he raves, and all we wail for.
Do you think 'tis this?
It may be very likely.
Hath there been such a time, I'd fain know that I have positively said 'tis so when it proved otherwise?
Not that I know.
Take this from this, if this be otherwise.
How may we try it further?
You know, sometimes he walks for hours together here in the lobby.
So he does indeed.
At such a time I'll loose my daughter to him, be you and I behind an arras, then mark the encounter.
We will try it thus.
But look where sadly the poor wretch comes reading.
Away, do beseech you, both away! Oh, give me leave. How does my good Lord Hamlet?
Well, God of mercy.
Do you know me, my lord?
Excellent, well. You're a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Then I would you were so honest a man.
Honest, my lord?
Aye, sir. To be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 2,000.
That's very true, my lord.
For if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion, have you a daughter?
I have, my lord.
Let her not walk at the sun. Conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to it.
How say you by that? Still harping on my daughter, yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, far gone. I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord?
Words. Words.
What is the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean, the matter you read, my lord.
Slander, sir. For the satirical slave says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber. All which, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For you yourself, sir, should be old as I am, if like a crab you could go backward.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in it. Will you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave?
Indeed, that is out of the air. How pregnant sometimes his replies are. A happiness that often madness hits on. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My honorable lord, most humbly will I take my leave of you.
You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all. Except my life. Except my life. Except my life.
Fare you well, my lord.
God save you, sir.
These tedious old fools.
Mine honored lord.
My most dear lord.
My excellent good friends! How dost thou, Guildenstern? Rosencrantz. Good lads. How do you both?
As the indifferent children of the earth.
Happy in that we're not over happy. On Fortune's cap, we're not the very button.
Nor the soles of her shoe?
Neither, my lord.
Then you live about her waist, or in the middle of her favor.
Faith her private sweet.
In the secret parts of fortune. Oh, most true. She is a strumpet. What's the news?
None, my lord, but that the world's grown honest.
That is doomsday near. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison ever?
Prison, my lord?
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one.
A goodly one, in which there are many wards, confines, and dungeons. Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Why then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison.
Why then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord, no other occasion.
Beggar that I am even poor in thanks, but I thank you. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, deal justly with me. Come, nay, speak.
What should we say, my lord?
Why, anything, but to the purpose. You were sent for, and there is a kind confession in your looks, which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my lord?
That you must teach me. Be even and direct with me whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay, then, I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, foregone all custom of exercise, and indeed it goes so heavenly with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with golden fire, why, it appears no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet, to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me. No, nor woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
My lord, there was no such stuff in our thoughts.
Why did you laugh then, when I said man delights not me?
To think, my lord, that if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment shall the players receive from you? We coted them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service.
He that plays the king shall be welcome. What players are they?
Even those that you are wont to take delight in, the tragedians of the city.
Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they so followed?
No, indeed they are not.
How comes it? Do they grow rusty?
Nay, their endeavor stays in the wonted pace.
It is not strange, for My uncle is King of Denmark. There is something in this more than natural if philosophy could find it out.
There are the players.
Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands, come. You are welcome. But my uncle, father, and aunt mother are deceived.
In what, my lord?
I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Well be with you, gentlemen.
Hark you, Guildenstern. And you two, at each ear, a hearer. That great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clothes. I will prophesy. He comes to tell me of the players. Mark it. You say right, sir. For a Monday morning, 'twas so indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Rossius, an actor in Rome...
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Buzz, buzz.
Upon mine honor.
Then can each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragical, comical, historical, pastoral, historical, comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, tragical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene indivisible, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor plot is too light. For the law of writ and the liberty, these are the only men.
Welcome, masters! Welcome all! Glad to see thee well! Welcome, good friends! Oh, my old friend. My face is valiant since I saw thee last.
My goodness.
Masters, you are all welcome. Willing to it like French falconers. Fly at anything we see. We'll hear a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my lord?
I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted. Or if it was, not above once, for the play I remember pleased not the million. 'Twas caviar to the general. But it was an excellent play. One chief speech in it I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, and thereabout of it, especially where he speaks of Priam's slaughter.
Yes.
If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast. No! It is not so, it is not so. It begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arm, black as his purpose, did the knight resemble, when he lay couched in the ominous horse, half now this dread and black complexion, smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken.
Anon he finds him, striking too short at Greeks. His antic sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal match. Pyrrhus at Priam drives, with rage strikes wide, and with the whiff and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then, senseless Ilium, seeming to feel his blow, with flaming top, stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash, takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of Reverend Priam, seemed in the air to stick. So as a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But, as we so often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens. The rack stands still. The bold winds, speechless, and the orb below as hushed as death. Anon, a dreadful thunder doth rend the region. So after Pyrrhus' pause, a roused vengeance sets him new a work. For never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars his armors, forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out! Out thou strumpet, fortune, all you gods in general synod, take away her power! Break all the spokes and valleys from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiends.
This is too long.
Pretty. Say on. Say on. Come to Hecuba.
But who? Oh, who had seen the ennobled queen?
That's good. Ennobled queen is good.
But if the gods could see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, that instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal moved them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods.
Look, where he has not turned his color and has tears in his eyes. Pray you no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest soon. Good my lord, will you see the players well bestowed?
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's body, kinsman. Better. Use every man after his desert, and who should skip whipping?
Okay, here we go. Come, sirs.
Follow him at foot, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
We'll hat tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some dozen or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert it. Could ye not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow that lord, and look you, mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You're welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Aye so, God by ye. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his whole conceit, that from her working all his visage warmed, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing. For Hecuba! What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty, and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculty of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John a-dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing! No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my pate across, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie in the throat as deep as to the lungs. Who does me this? Huh? Why, I should take it, for it cannot be that I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with the slave's awful, bloody, body villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain! Oh, vengeance! Oh, what an ass am I! I sure this is most brave, that I, the son of the dear murdered, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words, and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a scullion, viapont, about my brain. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ, I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I'll watch him to the quick. If he but flinch, I know my course. The ghost that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more absolute than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
And can you by no drift of circumstance get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy?
He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak.
Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but the crafty madness keeps aloof when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state.
Did he receive you well?
Most like a gentleman.
Did you assay him to any pastime?
Madam, it so fell out that certain players we o'errode on the way, of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear it. They are about the court, and as I think they have already ordered this night to play before him.
'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge to drive his purpose onto these delights.
We shall, my lord.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may there affront Ophelia.
Sir, I shall obey. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues bring him to his wonted ways again, to both your honors.
Madam, I wish it may.
Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book. I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep, to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life, for who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of this prized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with disregard their currents churn awry, and lose the name of action. Shh, soft you now, the fair Ophelia. Nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered.
My lord, how does your honor for this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well.
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have long and long to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, I know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich than perfume left. Take these again, for to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind.
Are you honest?
My lord.
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than your honesty?
Aye, truly. For the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in imagination, to give them shape or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do? Crawling between heaven and earth. We are errant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Oh. Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool no way but in's own house. Farewell!
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens!
Get thee to a nunnery! Go! Farewell! Or if thou wilt needs marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go! And quickly, too. Farewell!
Oh, heavenly powers, restore him!
I have heard of your paintings too well enough. God has given you one face and you make yourself another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp. And nicknames God's creatures and make your wantonness, your ignorance, go to. I will no more on't. It hath made me mad. I say we will have no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery. Go.
Hamlet?
Love? His affections do not that way tend. Nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do fear the hatch and disclose will be some danger. Which to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set down. He shall with speed to England. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brain still beating puts him thus, from fashion of himself. What think you on it?
It shall do well, but yet do I believe the origin and commencement of this grief sprung from neglected love. Do as you please, but if you hold it fit, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his griefs. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the year of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think.
It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
What ho, Horatio!
Here, sweet lord, at your service.
There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee, of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, even with the very comment of my soul, observe mine uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel, in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen. Horatio, thou art e'en as just the man as ere my conversation coped withal.
Oh, my dear lord.
Nay, do not think I flatter. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core. I, in my heart of heart, as I do thee.
Oh.
Something too much of this. Give him needful note, for I mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join to censor of his seeming.
Well, my lord.
The readiness is all. They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place?
How fares our cousin Hamlet?
Excellent, if faith. Of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air, promise crammed. You cannot feed Capon so.
I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine.
Nor mine. Now, my lord, you played once at a university, you say?
That I did, my lord, and was accounted a good actor.
And what did you enact?
I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed in the Capitol. Brutus killed me.
It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready?
Aye, my lord, they stay upon your patience.
Come hither, my good Hamlet. Sit by me.
No, good mother. Here's metal more attractive.
Oh, do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
Aye, my lord.
My lady.
Do you think I'm in country matters?
I think nothing, fair lady.
That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs.
What is?
Nothing.
You are not.
You are not.
You are merry, my lady?
Who, I?
I, Ophelia.
Oh, God, you're only jig maker. What should a man do but be merry? For look you how cheerfully thy mother looks.
And my father died within 2 hours.
Nay, just twice 2 months, my lord.
So long? Oh, heavens! Died 2 months ago and not forgotten yet?
For us and for our tragedy, you're stooping to your clemency. We beg your hearing patiently.
Is this a prologue or the posy of a ring?
'Tis brief, my lord.
This woman's love.
You are not.
You are not.
I'll mark the play.
Neptune's salt wash, and Tellus' orbed ground, and 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 1230s been, since love our hearts and Hymen did our hands unite commutual in most sacred bands.
So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count o'er ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, and so far from cheer from your former state that I distrust you.
Hey, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too. My operant powers their functions leave to do. And thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and happily one as kind, for husband shalt thou—
Oh, confound the rest! Such love need be treason in my breast. In second husband let me be accursed, for none wed the second, but who killed the first.
I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. Our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our desires still are overthrown. Our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead.
Hamlet,
Madam, how like you this play?
the lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Shh. If once a widow, ever I be wife.
She should break it now.
'Tis deeply sworn. Sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it?
No, they do but jest. Poison in jest. No offense in the world.
What do you call the play?
The Mousetrap. This play is the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago is the Duke's name, his wife, Baptista. You shall see anon 'tis a knavish piece of work, but what a dat! Your Majesty, man, we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the galled jade wins, our wivers are unwrong. This is one Lucianus, brother to the king.
You are a good chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love.
Oh, you are keen, my lord, you are keen.
It would cost you a groaning to take off my edge.
Still better and worse.
Begin, murderer.
Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit and time agreeing, confederate season else no creature seeing. Thou mixture rank of midnight weeds collected with Hecate's ban, thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and dire property, unwholesome life usurped immediately.
He poisons him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzago. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife.
The king rises.
Frighted with false fire.
And how fares my lord?
Give over the play!
Give me some light! Away!
Lights! Lights! Lights!
Let's go.
Why, let the strucken deer go weep, the heart ungalled play, for some must watch, while some must sleep, so runs the world away. For thou dost know, devoted dear, this realm dismantled was, of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very peacock.
You might have rhymed.
Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost word for 1,000 pound, didst perceive.
Very well, my lord.
Upon the talk of the poisoning.
I did very well note him.
Oh, ha! Comes the music.
Good, my lord. Vouchsafe me a word with you.
Sir, a whole history.
The king, sir.
Aye, sir, what of him?
Is in his retirement marvelous distempered.
With drink, sir.
No, my lord, rather with anger, but to the matter. The queen, your mother, in most great affliction of spirit, hath sent me to you.
You are welcome.
Hey, good my lord.
Then thus she says, your behavior hath struck her into amazement and admiration.
Oh, wonderful son, that can so astonish a mother.
She desires to speak with you in her chamber ere you go to bed.
We shall obey, were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us?
My lord, you did once love me.
So do I still. By these pickers and stealers.
Good, my lord. What is the cause of your distemper?
Oh, the recorder. Will you play upon this pipe?
My lord, I cannot.
I pray you.
Believe me, I cannot.
I do beseech you.
I know no touch of it.
'Tis as easy as lying. Govern these vintages with your finger and thumb. Give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most excellent music. Look you, these are the stops.
But these cannot I command to any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill.
I look you now. How unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. Why do you think that I am easier to be played on than a pipe? God bless you, sir.
My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently...
Do you see that cloud? That's almost in shape like a camel.
By the miss, and it's like a camel indeed.
Methinks it is like a weasel.
It is backed like a weasel.
Or like a whale?
Very like a whale.
Then will I come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by.
I will say so.
By and by is very easily said. Leave me, friends. 'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. Soft now, to my mother. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none.
I like him not, nor stands it safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you. I your commission will forthwith dispatch, and he to England shall along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so great as doth hourly grow out of his lunacy.
We will ourselves provide most holy and religious spiritists to keep those many, many bodies safe that live and feed upon your majesty.
No, good my lord, the cease of majesty dies not alone, but like a gulf doth draw what's near it with it. For never alone did a king sigh, but with a general groan.
Arm you, I pray you, to this speedy voyage, for we will fetters put upon this fear which now goes too free-footed.
We will haste us.
My lord, he's going to his mother's chamber. Behind the arras I'll convey myself to hear the process. Fare you well, my liege. I'll call upon you ere you go to bed and tell you what I know.
Thanks, dear my lord. Oh, my offense is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon it, a brother's murder. Pray can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will, my stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself in brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Whereto serves mercy, but to confront the visage of offense? And what's in prayer but this twofold force to be forestalled ere we come to fall? Or pardon being down? Then all look up. My fault is past. But oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder, that cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder. My crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, offence's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law, but 'tis not so above. There is no shuffling. There the action lies in his true nature, and we ourselves compelled, even to the teeth and forehead of our faults, to give an evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Oh, wretched state! Oh, bosom black as death! Oh, limed soul, that struggling to be free art more engaged. Help, angels! Make us safe. Bow stubborn knees and hearts with strings of steel. Be as soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well.
Now might I do it, Pat. Now he is praying, and so I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his foul son, do this same villain send to heaven. Oh, this is higher in salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown as fresh as May. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasures of his bed, at gaming, swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell, whereto it goes.
My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts, never to heaven go.
My mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
Mark me.
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty! But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
Thou knowest 'tis common. All that lives must die.
Capital. Brutus killed me.
Look you how cheerfully thy
Revenge,
mother looks.
foul, most unnatural murder.
Do not look upon me! Mother! 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 Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with an idle tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rude, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, but would you were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come, and sit you down. You shall not budge, you go not, till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me.
How now?
Oh me, what hast thou done?
He will come straight. I'll silence me e'en here. Pray you be round with him.
I warrant you, fear me not.
Mother!
Withdraw, I hear him coming.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with an idle tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rude, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, but would you were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come, and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me.
How now? A rat!
I'm slain.
Oh, me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this?
A bloody deed almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother?
As kill a king!
Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell, I took thee for thy betters. Take thy fortune. Thou finds to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart, for so I shall if it be made of penetrable stuff.
Me, what have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as Dicer's own.
Ay me, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on his brow. A combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear. Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday in the blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Oh, shame, where is thy blush?
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turnst mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as would not leave their taint.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in mine ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent lord, a vice of kings.
No more.
A king of treads and batches. Save me and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly guards!
Alas, he's mad.
What would your gracious figure? Do you not come your tardy son to chide? That lapsed in time and passion lets go by the important acting of your dread command. Oh, say!
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy nearly blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Step between her and her fighting soul. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how is it with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Whereon do you look?
On him! On him! Look you, how pale he glares. Do not look upon me!
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
No, nothing at all, yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
Nothing but ourselves.
Why, look you there. My father in his habit as he lived. What? Look how it steals away.
This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning.
Ecstasy? My pulse as yours doth temperately keep time, and makes as healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. For love of grace, lay not a flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption, mining all within, infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven, repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker.
Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it and live the purer with the other half.
What shall I do?
Not this, by no means, that I bid you do. Let the blood king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out. That I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft.
thou assured. If words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe. What thou hast said to me.
I must to England. You know that?
Alack, I had forgot 'tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed, and my 2 schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work for! 'Tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard. And shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet when in 1 line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mutter, good night indeed.
Gertrude! There's matters in these sighs, these profound heaves you must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where's your son?
Ah, my good lord. What have I seen tonight?
What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet?
Mad as the seas and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras, hearing something stir, he whips his weapon out and cries, a rat, and in his brainish apprehension, kills the unseen good old man.
Oh, heavy deed. It had been so with us had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all. To you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us. Where is he gone?
To draw apart the body he hath killed, or whom his very madness, like some ore amongst a mineral of metals base, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done.
Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. Ho, Guildenstern!
My lord.
Friends, both go join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go!
Lord.
Come, Gertrude. We'll call up our wisest friends to let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay.
How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. Ugh! What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which, quartered, hath but 1 part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward, I do not know why yet I live to say this thing's to do, sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. What noise? Who calls on Hamlet?
What have you done, my lord, with the dead body.
Compounded it with dust, whereto 'tis kin.
Tell us where 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Believe what?
That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of a king?
Take you me for a sponge, my lord?
Aye, sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. He keeps you like an apple in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you. And, sponge, you shall be dry again.
I understand you not, my lord.
I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear.
My lord, you must tell us where the body is, and go with us to the king.
The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing.
A thing, my lord?
Of nothing. Bring me to him.
We're only bluffing. We're not ones for busting through walls, but they've told us unless we can prove that we're doing it, we can't have it all. Suddenly feet are feet of mud. It all goes slow. I don't know why I'm crying.
Oh, what a noble mind is here overthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. Have I, of ladies, most deject and wretched that suck the honey of his music vows, now seen that noble and most sovereign reason like sweet bells, jangled out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen. See what I see.
I have sent to seek him, and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Yet must not we put the strong law on him? He's loved of the distracted multitude who love not in their judgment but their eyes. How now, what hath befallen?
Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him.
Bring him before us.
Oh, Guildenstern, bring in my lord.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
At supper. Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. A man may fish with the worm that have eat of a king, and eat of the fish that have fed of that worm.
What dost thou mean by this?
Nothing but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar.
Where is Polonius?
In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But indeed, if you find him not this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Go, seek him there.
You will stay till he come.
Hamlet, this deed of thine, for thine especial safety, which we do tender, as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready and the wind at help. The associates tend and everything at bent. For England.
For England?
Aye, Hamlet.
Good.
So it is if thou know'st our purpose.
I see a cherub that sees him. But come, for England. Farewell, dear mother.
Thy loving father, Hamlet.
My mother. Father and mother is man and wife. Man and wife is one flesh, and so my mother. But come, for England.
Follow him at foot. Tempt him with speed aboard. Delay it not. I'll have him hence tonight. And England, if my love thou hold'st at aught, thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports at full by letters conjuring to that effect the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood he rages. Thou must cure me. Till I know 'tis done, howe'er my haps, my joys were ne'er begun.
I will not speak with her.
She is importunate, indeed distract. Her mood will needs be pitied.
What would she have?
She speaks much of her father, says she hears the tricks in the world and hums and beats her heart, spuns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense.
Her speech is nothing, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection.
'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds.
Let her come in. To my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss. So full of artless jealousy as guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt.
Where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark?
How now,
Out
Ophelia?
in the garden there's half of a heaven. We're only bluffing. We're not ones for busting through walls, but they've told us unless we can prove that we're doing it, we can't have it all.
Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song?
What say you? Nay, pray you mark. We can't have it all.
Nay, but Ophelia.
Pray you mark. Suddenly feet are feet of mud. It
Alas,
all
look here,
goes
my
so
lord.
low. I don't know why I'm crying.
How do ye, pretty lady?
Well, God, thank you. They say the owl was the baker's daughter. Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be. God be at your table.
Conceit upon her father?
Pray you, let's have no words of this. But when they ask you what it means, say you this. He's gonna wrangle a way to get out of it. She's an excuse and a witness. He'll talk when she's called, but they've told us unless we can prove that they're doing it, we can't have it all. We can't have it
Pretty
all.
Ophelia.
Indeed, love. Without an oath, I'll make an end on it. I won't open boxes that I am told not to. I'm not a Pandora. I'm much more like the girl in the mirror. Between you and me, she don't stand.
How long hath she been thus?
I hope all will be well. We must be patient, but I cannot choose but to weep to think they should lay him in the cold ground. My brother Laertes shall know of it. And so I thank you for your counsel. Come, my coach. Good night, lady. Good night, sweet lady. Good night. Good night.
Follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. Oh, Gertrude, Gertrude. When sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First, her father slain. Next, your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. The people muddied, thick and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers for good Polonius' death. And we have done but greenly and hugger-mugger to inter him. Poor Ophelia, divided from herself and her fair judgment. Last, and as much containing as all these, Laertes is in secret come from France. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering peace in many places, gives me superfluous death. What is the matter?
Alack, what noise is this?
Save yourself, my lord! The ocean overpeering of its list eats not the flats with more piteous haste than young Laertes in riotous head overbears your officers. The rabble call him lord.
They cry, choose we! Laertes shall be king! Caps, hands, tongues applauded to the clouds! Laertes shall be king! Laertes king!
How cheerfully on the false trail they cry! Oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs!
Doors are broke.
Where's the king, sirs? Oh, thou vile king, give me my father!
Calmly, good Laertes.
That drop of blood that calms proclaims me bastard, cries cuckold to my father, brands the harlot, e'en here between the chaste unspurged brow of my true mother.
What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Tell me, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed. Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man.
Where's my father?
Dead.
But not by him.
Let him demand his fill.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. Let come what comes. Only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father.
Who shall stay you?
My will, not all the world.
Why now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensible in grief for it. It shall as level to your judgment pierce as day does to your eye.
How now? What noise is that?
Wicked are the
Ophelia?
branches on the tree of mankind. The roots grow upward and the branches grow down. It's much too late to throw the dice again, I found. Treats you like a puppet when you're under its spell. Oh, the heart is heaven, but the mind is hell. You sing hell, heart is heaven, but the mind is
hell.
Oh, how the wheel becomes it! It is a false steward that stole his master's daughter.
Ophelia.
There's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there's pansies. That's for thoughts. There's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you and here's some for me. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. I'm gonna take the sins of my father, take the sins of my mother, take the sins of my brother down to the pond. And of all good Christian souls, I pray God. God be with you. I'm gonna wash them.
Oh, heat, dry up my brains. Oh, rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. Oh, heavens. Is it possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? Do you see this, you gods?
Laertes, I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right. Go but apart. Make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we call ours to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content.
Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure burial, no trophy, sword, nor hatchment o'er his bones, no noble rites, nor formal ostentation cry to be heard, as 'twere from heaven to earth. That I must call in question.
So you shall. And where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me.
God bless you, sir.
Let him bless thee too.
If your name be Horatio, as we are led to know it is, there There is a letter for you, sir. 'Tis sent to you by young Lord Hamlet, who is bound for England, but now he is with swiftest speed returned to Denmark.
I'll bring your letters here unto the king, and do it the speedier, that you may direct me unto the place where my lord Hamlet is.
Now must your conscience my acquittal seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend. Sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life.
It well appears, but tell me why you proceeded not against these feats, so crimeful and so capital in nature.
Oh, for 2 reasons. One, the queen his mother lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, beat either which. She's so conjunctive to my life and soul that as the star moves but in his sphere, I could not but buy her. The other motive is the great love the general people bear him.
And so have I a noble father lost, and sister driven into desperate terms. But my revenge will come.
Break not your sleeps for that. I loved your father. And we love ourselves, and that I hope will teach you to imagine that... How now, Horatio? What news?
Letters, my lord, from Hamlet. This to your majesty, this to the queen.
From Hamlet? Who brought them?
Sailors, my liege.
Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall, first asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasions of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is it some abuse, or no such thing? And in a postscript here he says that he hath parted course with Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, and is returned alone. Can you advise me?
I'm lost in it, my lord, but let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth, thus diest thou.
If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise will you be ruled by me?
If so, you'll not rule me to a peace?
To thine own peace. If he be now returned, I will work him to an exploit now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death, no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident. Now out of this.
Why out of this, my lord?
Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this?
Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see in passages of proof. Time qualifies the spark and fire of it. Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself your father's son indeed, more than in words?
To cut his throat in the church.
Revenge should have no bounds. But good Laertes, will you do this? Hamlet returned shall know you are come home. We'll bring you to fence together.
I will do it. And for that purpose, I'll anoint my sword. I bought a poison from a traveler, so mortal I but dip the knife in it where it draws blood. No cataplasm that's found under the moon can save the thing from death that is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion that if I gall him slightly, it may be death.
Let's further think of this. This plan should have a back or second thrust. I have it. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to the end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escaped your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. How, sweet queen?
One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they'll follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Drowned? Oh. Where?
There is a willow, grows aslant a brook, which shows its hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There, with fantastic garlands did she come, of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples, which the liberal shepherds do give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant boughs, her coronet weeds clambering to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down the weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook, her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with her drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, then, is she drowned?
Drowned. Drowned.
Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly drowns it.
Let's follow, Gertrude.
Is she to be buried in Christian burial? She that willfully seeks her own salvation?
I tell thee she is, and therefore make her grave straight. The coroner hath ruled it, and finds it Christian burial.
How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be se offendendo. It cannot be else, for here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act, and an act hath three branches. 1, it is an act to do. 2, it is an act to perform. Ergal, she drowned herself witting.
Nay, but hear you, good man, Delver.
Nay, give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. Now if the man go to the water and drown himself, it is will he nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Ergal, he that is not guilty of his own death shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Aye, Mary est. Coroner's quest law.
Will ye have the truth on it? If she had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest. And the more pity that great folk should have countenance to drown or hang themselves more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
The first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none.
What? Art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. How could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee, and if thou answerest not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
Who is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
A gallows maker. For that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well, in good faith. The gallows does well. But how does it well? The gallows does well to those that do ill. Now thou dost ill to say that the gallows are built stronger than the church. Argal, the gallows may do well to thee. To it again, come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that, and unyoke.
Marry, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass. I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend its pace with beating. But when you are asked this question next, say a grave maker, for the houses he makes lasts till doomsday. Go, get thee in. Fetch me a stoop of liquor.
Horatio! I have words to speak in your ear. Will make thee dumb. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Of them I have much to tell thee. You do remember all the circumstance?
Remember it, my lord.
Sir, in my heart there is a kind of fighting that will not let me sleep. There's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will.
That's most certain. So, Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, go to it.
The king, my uncle, did contrive my death, which plot did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern with false and flattering tongues make base attempt. But I, good sir, unsealed their grand commission, disfigured so their charge, that when these spies did greet the English court, that court did my 2 traitors put to death. My man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their demise doth by their own insinuation fall. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the pass and fell insensate points of mighty opposites.
Why, what a king is this?
Does it not? Thinks thee stand me now upon? He that hath killed my king and whored my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cousinage is not perfect conscience to quit him with this arm. It is not to be damned to let this canker of our nature come and further evil.
It must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business there.
It will be short. The interim's mine, and a man's life's no more than to say one.
Peace, who comes here?
This fellow no feeling of his business, that he sings at grave making?
Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness.
'Tis e'en so. The hand of little employment hath daintier sense. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave's this, sir?
Mine, sir.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in't.
You lie out on't, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in't, to be in't and say 'tis thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick. Therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir, and 'twill away again from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
No man, sir.
What woman then?
None neither.
Who is to be buried in't?
One that was a woman, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is. Let us speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days in the year, I came to it that day our last King Hamlet o'ercame Fortinbras, King of Norway.
Well, how long is that
Can you not tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that was mad and sent into England.
Aye, Mary, why was he sent into
Why,
England?
he was mad. He shall recover his wits there. Or if he do not, it is no great matter there.
Why?
For there the men are as mad as he.
Okay, me mad.
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith. E'en upon losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I've been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years. Here's a skull. Now this skull hath lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A horse and mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
Pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This skull, sir, this same skull, sir, is Yorick's skull. The king's jester.
This?
In that.
Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And how abhorred my imagination is, my gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? No one down to mock your own jeering? Quite chopfallen? Now, get you to my mother's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick, to this figure she must come. Make her laugh at that. Pretty, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked at this fashion in the earth?
Even so, my lord.
Smelt so? Puh.
Even so.
What base uses we may return, Horatio. Soft aside.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been as far enlarged as we have warranted. Her death was doubtful, and but that great command o'ersways the order. She should in ground unsanctified have lodged till the last trumpet, for charitable prayer. Shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown upon her, yet she is allowed her virgin rights.
Must there no more be done?
No more be done. We shall profane the service of the dead, to sing sage requiem, and such rest to her as to peace-parted souls.
Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling.
What? The fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet. Farewell.
Oh, terrible woe fall 10 times treble on that cursed head whose wicked deed thy ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth awhile, till I have caught her once more in mine arms.
Laertes.
Now, pile your dust upon the quick and dead.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjured a wandering stars and makes them stand like wonder-wounded heroes? This is I, Hamlet, the Dane.
It's him.
The devil take thy soul!
Hamlet.
I prithee take thy fingers from my throat.
Pluck them asunder!
Good my lord, forbear!
Oh, he's mad, Laertes.
I love to feel you. 1,000 brothers could not, with all that quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do?
For love of God, forbear him!
fight, would tear thyself, would drink up Isel, eat a crocodile. Ah! I'll do it! Dost thou come here to whine, to outface me with leaping in her grave, be buried quick with her, and so will I? And if thou prate of mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singeing his pate against the burning zone, make Zion like a wart. Nay, in thou'lt mouth, I'll rant as well as thou. Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus?
I pray you, good Horatio, wait upon him.
I loved you ever. But it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew and dog will have his day. But I am very sorry, good Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I'll count his favors, but sure the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion.
Peace, who comes here?
Your lordship is right. Welcome back to Denmark.
I humbly thank you, sir. Dost notice, Waterfly?
No, my good lord.
Thy state is the more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land, and fertile, quite spacious in the possession of dirt.
Sweet lord, if your friendship were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I will receive it with all diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to his right use, 'tis for the head.
I thank your lordship. 'Tis very hot.
No, believe me, 'tis very cold. The wind is northerly.
It is indifferent cold, my lord. Indeed.
Methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. It is very sultry, as 'twere... I cannot tell how. But, my lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid a great wager on your swordplay and your fencing talents. Sir, you are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is at his weapon.
What's his weapon?
Rapier and dagger.
That's two of his weapons, but well.
The king, sir, hath laid that in a dozen friendly passes between you and Laertes, he shall not exceed you 3 hits.
I will win for him if I can. If not, I'll gain nothing but my shame and the odd hits.
Shall I redeliver you e'en so?
To this effect, sir. After what flourish your nature will.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours.
You will lose this contest, my lord.
I do not think it. Since you went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But thou wouldst not think how ill all's here about my heart. But it is no matter.
Nay, good my lord.
It is but foolery.
If your mind dislike anything, obey. I will forestall their repair hither, and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man knows aught of when he leaves, what is to leave too soon? Let be.
Come, Hamlet, come and take Laertes' hand.
Give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong, but pardon as you are a gentleman. His presence knows, and you must needs have heard how I am punished with sore distraction. What I have done that might your nature honor and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Wast Hamlet wronged Laertes? Never, Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be ta'en away, and when he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? Is madness? If be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts that I have shot mine arrow o'er the house and hurt my brother.
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge, but in my terms of honor I stand aloof. Thus, for this present sport, I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it.
I do embrace it freely, and will this brother's game most fairly play. Give us the foils, come on.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance, your skill shall be like a star at the darkest night. Stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir.
No, but his hand.
Cousin Hamlet! You know the wager.
Very well, my lord. Your grace hath laid the odds at the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I've seen you both.
This is too heavy. Let me see another.
This likes me well.
Set me the stoops of wine upon that table.
Aye, my good lord.
If Hamlet give the first or second hit, the king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath, and in the cup a union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Come! Begin!
Come on, sir.
Come on, sir.
One.
No!
Judgment.
A hit. A very palpable hit.
Well done, Hamlet!
Well, again!
Stay, give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
I'll play this bout first. It's up by a while. Come. Another hit! What say you?
A touch, I do confess.
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Here's a napkin. Rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
Gertrude, do not drink.
I will, my lord. I pray you, pardon me.
It is the poisoned cup. It is too late.
Come, let me wipe thy face.
Good, madam.
My lord, I'll hit him now.
I do not think it.
And yet 'tis almost against my conscience.
Come preferred! Laertes, you would dally! I pray you, pass with your best violence. I am afeard you make a wanton of me.
Say you so. Come on.
Nothing, neither way.
Have at you now!
They come again!
Part them! They are incensed!
Look, queen there! Hold!
They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord? How is it, Laertes?
Why, as woodcock to mine springe, Osric, I am justly killed with mine own treachery.
How does the queen?
She swoons to see them bleed.
No, the drink, the drink. I am poisoned.
Oh my God. No, please. Help! No!
Oh, my dear Hamlet.
Oh, villainy! Ow! Let the doors be locked. treasury, seek it out!
It is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there is not half an hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unblunted and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned. I can no more. The king's to blame.
The point in venom too. Then venom to thy work. Hear thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, drink of this potion. Is thy union here? Follow my mother.
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee.
Nor mine on thee. Oh, I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act. Had I but time, as this fell Sergeant Death is strict in his arrest, oh, I could tell you. But let it be. Horatio, I am dead, thou livest. Report me, and my cause is right to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antic Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left.
Thou art a man. Give me the cup. Let go. I haven't. I'll have. Oh, good Horatio. What a wounded name. Things standing thus unknown shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story.
Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
The rest is silence.
In Hamlet by William Shakespeare, Abraham Riker played Hamlet. Ashlyn Walters, Horatio. Blake Walters, Ghost and Player King. Basie Geary, Guildenstern. Christopher Tupper played the Gravedigger. Garrett Haynes, Francisco and Clown. Grace Chamberlain, Sailor and Player Queen. Greyson Shaw played Claudius. Ilse Prokosch, Rosencrantz. Lucas Bueling, Bernardo. Marcus Geary, Marcellus. Pip Edmund, Laertes. Tydus Kelcher, Polonius. Søren Stauffacher, Osric. Ulla Collins played Gertrude, and Vivian Chaffin played Ophelia. This production was originally prepared for the stage and set to premiere on March 13th, 2020, but was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hamlet was produced by Shakespearean Youth Theatre under the artistic direction of Logan Verdorn. Stage management by Ezra Jackson Smith and Gabriel Peñalosa Hernandez. Dramaturgy by Lucas Brazier-Fons. Sound design and original music by Kevin Springer, assisted by Leo Buffalo and Nathan Campling. Costume design by Ashley Kahn, assisted by Ashley Odette and Robin James. Lighting design by Søren Olsen, assisted by Michael Oakes and Vlad Kirachevsky. Scenic design by Logan Verdorn. Web design by Josh Dudley. Violence and intimacy direction, Annie Enneking. Technical direction, Alex Olson. Script adaptation by Lucas Brazier-Fons and Logan Verdorn. Special thanks to Michael Kelly, Jake Otto, Josh Dudley, Kyle Waits, Aaron and James Gardner, Bridget Sabatke, Guthrie Theater Sound Department, Avex, Crescent Moon Productions, The Garbage Club, Emma Gustafson, National Camera Exchange, Watson, the dog, and our Vandalia Tower neighbors at Revere Auctions and Defining You, Pilates and Fitness. Hamlet was directed by Logan Verdorn. This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through grants from the Minnesota State Arts Board and the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.